McLyman, please stop. It's improper.
It's disrespectful, too.
I asked to come sidebar.
And the answer is no, we don't need to sidebar it.
I'm not a lawyer, but day 5 of Florida versus Alicia Andrews was more than spicy. Let me give you the recap. So the first witness was this lady who was a firearms analyst, and she compared some of the weapons found at Sean Gathride's house during the execution of that search warrant to casings found in other incidents, as well as the casings found in the murder of Julio Foolio. The problem is she and the prosecutor were referring to everything by case number, so it was very confusing. Here is a snippet of some of the direct.
Yes, I did do a comparison between 9.1 and 9.2 from the FDLE case number 24-4-3556 to that item 7 cartridge case in the other case.
And what were the results of your comparison?
I concluded that they were identified to each other.
And what does that mean?
Meaning that all of them were fired from the same firearm.
So it sounds like something was matched. I just don't know what. So on cross-examination, Alicia's attorney starts off trying to make the results of this analysis more clear. But then it takes a turn.
And I guess what you were testifying to, you were able to determine that these two firearms, these rifles here, that these two rifles that were found in Sean Gathride's house, they were used in some other October 7th, 2023 shooting?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
These two rifles, what are they connected to?
So I concluded that the...
Judge, I would object if the question is phrased, what are they connected to, is vague.
I'm going to sustain the objection, rephrase.
What is the purpose of these of showing these rifles to the jury?
Objection.
Sustain the objection.
What is the purpose of showing why there's a safety on this firearm, on these
I'm
rifles?
going to sustain the objection.
I don't even know what the objection is at this point. There's no legal basis. It's just an objection.
Objection to the speaking.
It's irrelevant and it's improper question.
It was elicited in front of the jury.
Mr. McLyman, I'm not going to argue with you. If I allow the witness to testify, then that makes it relevant and material. Okay?
And if it's relevant, then I should be able to cross-examine on it.
I'm going to sustain
Can we come sidebar?
No. No.
So I can't argue. I can't come sidebar.
Mr. McLyman, please stop. It's improper.
It's disrespectful, too.
I asked to come sidebar.
And the answer is no, we don't need to sidebar it. If the witness was permitted to testify something, that makes it relevant and admissible.
I'm not arguing that, Judge. I just want to talk to her about what she testified to.
Listen, I've sustained the objection. Ask your next question.
So Alicia's attorney asks a few more questions before he wraps up.
Were these rifles used in this shooting?
So I determined that the projectiles I received, items 1 and 4 in this case, were inconclusive to the item 8 rifle, which is the 5.56 rifle, meaning I didn't have enough detail to say whether or not it was ID to that firearm or not.
Now what about the other rifle?
For that rifle, I was able to ID it to a projectile in one of my cross-reference cases.
But not in this case?
No.
No further questions.
So long story short, both of the rifles that were found in Sean Gathride's house could not be 100% matched to the death of Julio Foolio. When one was tested, it was inconclusive, and when the other was tested, it was a no. However, that second rifle did match to another shooting. After that witness, there was a break in which the attorneys made arguments about some images and text messages that prosecutors were trying to get admitted into evidence. You can't really see the images from the clip, but one of them apparently shows Alicia with someone else who was throwing up a gang sign. And prosecutors say that this picture is relevant because it was taken before Alicia was dating Isaiah Chance, so it shows her awareness and her knowledge of gangs and the gang war. Alicia's attorney, on the other hand, argues prosecutors only want to get these images and these text messages in to prejudice Alicia. In other words, to have the jurors see her standing next to this person throwing up gang signs so that they can judge her off of that.
But from my perspective, again, they have absolutely nothing to do with this case, and you're going to see a pattern between 13 or 12 to 16 that this is again an attempt to introduce improper character evidence by the state to, I don't know, I guess the argument is that alleged that she has knowledge, and I just don't know how far this is going to go, Your Honor.
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing. I'll let the state answer, but it's something to do with the alleged gang sign? Is that what this is relevant to?
Your Honor, and the date at which that photo was taken or was retrieved from Ms. Andrews' device as having been captured on that device predates when she gave her statement of when she knew this co-defendant, Mr. Chance.
Where does this end? At what point are they not allowed to just keep introducing irrelevant information about, the 50 different gang members that she lives, within a 5-mile radius of that she's come across? They can't even tell us who this person is. Whether or not she slapped him in the face and said, "Why did you throw that sign up?" They can't, none of that matters though. This is not relevant to the allegations in this case. This is becoming a please find her guilty because she knows gang members case. That 70% of what we discussed about Ms. Andrews is about who she knows and not how she's connected to this murder. And at some point it has to stop, Your Honor.
Okay, let me take a look at the other ones real quick. These are photographs again.
And what's the significance of that?
He is a member of the opposing group, and those messages are pretty clear as to what it relates to their conversation. This is them in a relationship prior to her involvement with ATK.
And if I recall, Your Honor, I believe the point of that this entire text thread was not to show that they were in a relationship, it's to show that she had knowledge that he had some sort of gang involvement. And if that's the case, why does this photo matter? Other than to show the jury that she is cozying up with gang members. That is the entire point of all of these exhibits, Your Honor. And
Okay, first of all, you guys stood up an opening statement, okay? And you told this jury, and there is no evidence she's a gang member. Or that she's an associate of a gang member.
it's not just, it's further than that, Your Honor.
I'm not done. So you get up an opening statement, and you say, this was just a romantic getaway. She thought she was going with her boyfriend somewhere.
Why she say it like that?
She didn't know any of these individuals involved. She had no idea that this was going to be a gang-related anything. That's what you told this jury, an opening statement.
Yeah, specifically that she didn't know the individuals involved in this murder.
Okay.
And they haven't shown you any evidence of that. They're going on a rampage about 50 people that are not involved in this case. We did not say that she didn't know any gang members. What we said was that she did not know Davion Murphy, Rashad Murphy. We haven't heard anything about that. We heard Sean Gathwright's grandma testify. I've never seen her before. There's no evidence even that they even have a relationship outside of her knowing who she was. But again, Your Honor, what does that have to do with this murder?
Now, y'all know I gotta make sure you're tracking. So in opening statements, Alicia's attorney said that outside of her boyfriend, Isaiah Chance, Alicia does not know her other co-defendants in this case.
With the exception of her boyfriend, Alicia Andrews did not know any of those men in that group, and none of those men in that group knew Alicia Andrews.
So again, the argument Alicia's attorney is making is that these pictures and text messages of her with other gang members really has no bearing on this case. It's not pictures of Alicia with her co-defendants or even with the victim, Julio Foolio. These items are from years ago, and all it does is prejudice or unfairly put Alicia in a bad light to the jury. And it seems the judge agrees at least with some of the argument. She excludes some things but allows the rest in.
So at this time, I'm going to sustain the objection as to these. Now, they may become relevant at some point. See what the testimony is?
Yes,
and I'm going to overrule the objection as to 75C12 and 75C13.
The next witness was a member of law enforcement who reviewed information retrieved from Alicia's iCloud account. He doesn't give context to the information or say what it means to the investigation. He really just discusses how to read the reports.
You can't tell me about the circumstances from which this photograph was taken.
No.
Can you simply tell me that this is a photograph that was on the device
Yes.
and was depicted in the extraction report?
Yes.
So I'm not going to go over his testimony because he testified for quite a while. And just about everything he testified about, the lead detective also testified about. And his testimony was more interesting. So I'll go over all that stuff through him. Now, before the lead detective, Detective Ramos, was called to the stand, the attorneys make arguments to the judge regarding Alicia's police interview video. Prosecutors plan to play the video during Detective Ramos's testimony, but they are trying to exclude certain parts, particularly parts when Detective Ramos and the other detective in the room are telling Alicia how much time she could spend in jail and how her parents will go bankrupt trying to pay for her attorneys. The defense argues they want all of this left in because it gives context as to why Alicia is responding the way that she does.
All of what he's doing during the interrogation is what prompts Alicia to give the responses that she does give during the interrogation. So if you take out the statements that he's making, if you're leaving out the context of why she said and did certain things. So that context needs to remain in the statement.
So, I mean, it sounds like you're arguing some form of coercion based upon what the detective said?
I mean, it could be coercion, it could be under influence, it could be...
Well, why did you file a motion to suppress pre-trial?
Because I'm not asking for it to get out.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking for the statements after she invoked her rights to be left out.
I think defense would normally be asking me to take it out.
Right.
That didn't happen in this scenario. I understand that they may have their own strategy. However, it's not appropriate, especially there are multiple references about the jury specifically.
I mean, I'm having a hard time because I don't know what the interview, I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna have to look at it. And I really wish someone filed a motion before trial and we weren't doing this in the middle of trial. Okay? So
the conversation gets punted to the end of the day, and in the meantime, Detective Ramos is called to the stand. Now again, Ramos is the lead detective, so he kind of walks through his investigation of this case and how he determined that Alicia Andrews, Isaiah Chance, Sean Gathwright, Rashad Murphy, and Davion Murphy were guilty of this crime. He starts off with what he learned when he arrived at the scene.
Yes, I learned that the victim was a prominent rapper from Jacksonville, and that he was associated with or a member of a gang called 6 Block, and that they had some rivals, ATK, NHG, and 1200, and that it was possible that some rivals had traveled down to Tampa and participated in this.
Since the Home to Suites Hotel and the Tesla had video of the incident, Detective Ramos was able to review the footage and identify 2 cars of interest, the black Chevy Impala and the silver or gray Chevy Cruze. Then another officer from the team, the car enthusiast I told y'all about, stepped in to help identify the year and model of the Impala. And then, thanks to license plate readers, they were able to figure out of all of the 9th generation black Chevy Impala LTZs in Florida, which one was registered in Jacksonville and had been in Tampa that weekend.
Yeah, so we had a very good high-definition footage and a good description of the vehicle. So what we did was we conducted an extensive license plate reader search, having the make and models and the idea that they traveled from Jacksonville to Tampa. We were able to find the actual identities of the vehicles through license plate reader technology. It's a database that you can go on and research, and it has access to cameras spread out all over different jurisdictions within Florida, cities, counties, on the highway. So basically, if you drove from Jacksonville to Tampa, you would probably pass many license plate readers throughout the drive.
There are some on the highways and the roadways, is that correct?
Correct.
Could it be a still mounted camera that is on the highway above a traffic light?
Correct.
Can it also be mobile? Can there be license plate readers that are attached, for instance, to tow trucks?
Yes.
After figuring out that the black Chevy Impala was registered to Sean Gathwright's mother, the detective then began working to identify the Chevy Cruze, and he did that through license plate readers as well. Apparently, the plate reader system has some kind of functionality that allows you to search for cars passing multiple readers around the same time of each other, which is typically an indication that the 2 cars are traveling together.
Once we had the black Impala identified, there's a variation that you can run in the system called the convoy feature, and what we would want to see is if any other plate hit at the same tag readers that the Impala hit at the same time in multiple locations, indicating that they're traveling together. And we did find a silver Chevy Cruze 2018 with a tag number of 30B NRI that hit at multiple LPRs with the Impala.
So within a minute of the silver Chevy Cruze hitting that same camera, is that correct?
Correct.
After using license plate readers to connect the silver Chevy Cruze to the black Chevy Impala and concluding that these are the vehicles from the video surveillance, Detective Ramos then learns who the Chevy Cruze is registered to.
Yes, Jasmine Glennon. She shares a child in common with Shaheem Murphy, the brother of co-defendant Rashad Murphy.
Also cousins to Davion Murphy?
Correct.
Using your brother's baby mama's car for a mission is wild. Now, it was still the early days of the investigation, but Jacksonville police mentioned Isaiah Chance's name to Detective Ramos as someone who could be connected to this case. Ramos initially didn't have a way to link Isaiah to any of the other suspects, but after doing a license plate reader on Isaiah's car, he discovers that Isaiah was in the vicinity of Sean Gathwright's house the month before Foolio's death.
Yeah, so this is actually a photograph of a vehicle registered to co-defendant Isaiah Chance. It was in front of 13751 Victoria Lakes Drive. That's Sean Gathwright's house. This was the first time that we had some linkage between Isaiah Chance, the co-defendant Isaiah Chance, and Sean Gathwright. So I knew of Sean Gathwright's name because of the registration on the black Impala, and now this provided linkage between co-defendant Isaiah Chance and Sean Gathwright.
Now, what happens next in the investigation are things we've already heard about. The black Chevy Impala gets impounded, the silver Chevy Cruze gets impounded, and the gold 4Runner Sean Gathwright was driving also gets impounded. And it turns out some of the shell casings found in the 4Runner were later connected to the October 2023 shooting of Julio Foolio.
The most important thing relevant to the case were there was a small cardboard box that contained approximately 8 or 9 rifle shell casings. They were spent casings. Those were submitted for ballistic analysis, and they were not even matched to a prior attempt on the victim Charles Jones' life from October 7th, 2023 in Jacksonville.
Now, that was the beginning part of the investigation, but Detective Ramos was not done. He used video from the hotel and the Tesla to put together a compilation of how the shooting played out. The compilation video is kind of long, so I've chopped some of the pieces up. But a few things you need to pay attention to are, number one, the black Impala arrives at the Home to Suites Hotel about 6 minutes after Foolio and his crew arrived. And then a few minutes after that, the Chevy Cruze arrives. Next, they're gonna point out that the Impala never passes the front entrance of the hotel, which is where Foolio and his crew were parked. They instead make an immediate right after entering the parking lot and go the long way to the back of the parking lot. The silver Chevy Cruze, the car that Alicia is in, does pass by the front. And then finally, the detective is going to note the shooters don't get out of the Impala and start shooting until after the Chevy Cruze has exited the parking lot. Now here's the video.
And sir, this is all put together in chronological time, is that correct? Stitching together the various videos.
Correct, easier to follow.
And what is being shown right there, what that car just passed?
That's the Impala arriving into the Home to Suites parking lot.
And again, it has not passed in front of those victims' vehicles, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is happening here?
It arrived on the west side of the Home to Suites and it's turning around.
And is it now parking in that space that you had designated?
It stages until the Cruze arrives, and then once the Cruze arrives, it starts to park, yes.
And that is the Cruze passing again right in front of the victim's vehicle?
Correct. The Impala is passing in front of the Tesla with the Cruze right behind it.
What's the Cruze doing at this point?
It turned around and is now headed back out the way it came in. The black Impala, while the silver Cruze is turning around, is pulling into the parking space. There's the tail lights, and it's backing in. You can see it from in between the top of the van and the white pillar there in the center of the screen.
And what is happening with the silver Chevy Cruze?
The Cruze is driving out the way it came in, passing the victim's location. The three shooters came out of the Impala and are walking towards the victim's position. This is them passing the Tesla, various angles.
Did you see the person with the handgun?
Yes, bottom right of the screen.
Now what is being shown here?
This is the victim's vehicle driving north. The shooters are running by the Tesla with the third shooter in the back there still shooting.
Now, on the first day of the investigation, Detective Ramos looked at Julio Foolio's Instagram. He took note of the birthday flyers posted, and he also screen recorded Foolio's Instagram story. And that all led him to Teaser's Nightclub.
Appreciate everybody popping out for my birthday, you know what I'm saying? Birthday! Happy birthday! Everybody take this shit on three, man. 1, 2, 3. Got my brother with me, you know, popped out for my birthday, you know that time, oh God, yeah.
And what is this camera angle that we're looking at first?
This is at the south east corner of the building, pointing west, and it covers the front door. To the right there, that gray door, that's the front entry into the club. Yeah, timestamp's 2:16:50 right now, and it's 7 minutes and 23 seconds slow, so the correct time frame would be closer to 2:24, 2:25.
What are we looking at now?
This is the first time the silver Cruze is seen on camera arriving in the area. I'm sorry, the second time the silver Cruze is arriving into the area. Correct time would be 2:24, 2:25 as well.
At some point, did you speed up the footage to make it go faster?
Yes. Top right there from the silver Cruze, we see defendant Isaiah Chance exit the driver's side and co-defendant Alicia Andrews exit the front passenger seat, and they are now walking through the parking lot. They are walking now southbound through the west side of the parking lot towards Castle Street, towards where the front would be.
The front entrance to Teasers?
Correct. Co-defendant Isaiah Chance is manipulating a cellular device
Later on in your investigation, did you determine whose cellular device he was manipulating?
Yes, that of co-defendant Alicia Andrews.
And is that a device that he was just shown holding up to his ear or his face?
Yeah, he appears to be holding it up to his mouth area.
And do you see that there is security or bouncers that are manning the door?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, can you see the victim in this particular video?
Yes.
What's he wearing?
A red beanie hat, a white T-shirt, and red shorts being patted down right now.
What are we seeing now, and what time is it?
This is after the victim enters. This is the defendants, Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance, walking back to the cruise.
Going back to that camera showing the front door, did you ever see Alicia Andrews or Isaiah Chance ever come up to that front door in all of the video footage of the front door?
No, they did not.
Did you ever see the defendant Alicia Andrews and the defendant Isaiah Chance ever go up to any of those bouncers or doormen at that front door?
No, they did not.
What's going on at this point?
The Silver Cruise is leaving the parking lot.
And what are we seeing in this clip of the front door again?
This is fast forwarded now approximately 20-30 minutes when the victim's exiting.
What are we seeing now?
Now we're seeing in the top right corner, we're seeing the black Impala for the first time in the teaser's cameras. It's arriving in the parking lot around the same time that the victim is exiting out of the front door.
And at this point, had the silver Chevy Cruze already came and parked, went up to the area around the door, and then gone back into the vehicle and left?
Correct.
What's being seen in this angle?
This is another angle of that black Impala there in the top right, circling the parking lot and making its way back out onto Castle to the front of the club. The black Impala is now traveling on Castle, and at this point it's stopped directly in front of the Charger.
So the victim's vehicle, the Charger, is now closely connected to where that black Chevy Impala is that correct?
Yes.
The next set of videos are from when Julio Foolio and his crew arrived at Truth 18.
Okay, and then what are we seeing here?
We are seeing the victim and his entourage walking up the stairs up to the front of Truth 18 that's off to the right there.
And approximately what time is it, converting the time to real time?
This was approximately 3:27 a.m.
And this is occurring after the victims had already been to Teaser's Nightclub, is that correct?
Correct.
What's going on now?
The victim is starting a live stream on his Instagram.
What are we seeing in this video?
Silver Cruise, top left, arriving.
This isn't me, by the way. The cameraman is too zoomed in.
Okay, what can we see now?
This is defendant Alicia Andrews and co-defendant Isaiah Chance walking from the top right through the parking lot.
And where is the victim's party at this point?
They are inside or at the top of the landing.
Told y'all.
Did the defendant, Alicia Andrews or Isaiah Chance, ever go up those stairs and enter into Truth 18 that night?
No, they did not.
And this is the video footage that shows the door and entrance to Truth 18, is that correct?
Correct.
Did they ever come up those stairs?
No.
What's going on at this point?
At this point, the victim and his entourage are leaving Truth 18.
Okay, what are we seeing here?
The black Chevy Impala arriving. It's pulling into the Enterprise parking lot there in the top left.
And is this the first time that we have seen the black Chevy Impala at this location?
Correct. Yeah, it just backed out of a spot and it's now driving out onto a bush. Shooting across in northbound.
And what can we see now?
The black Impala has returned and is now at the stop sign facing southbound.
And is that in the upper right-hand corner of the screen?
Correct.
What are we seeing in this video screen?
This is from the first floor, pointing northeast. At the very top center of the screen is actually that intersection where the Impala ultimately stops at the stop sign. But this is the victim's entourage going to their vehicles.
Okay, and what are we seeing here?
This is the victim and his entourage making a U-turn at McKinley and 40th, getting ready to go into the Home 2 Suites.
After talking through those videos, Detective Ramos then walks through how he figured out that the defendants were staying at an Airbnb. And it has to do with the day the silver Chevy Cruze was impounded in Georgia. At the time, Rashad Murphy and the mother of his child were in the car, and after being detained, officers confiscate Murphy's phone.
It's a phone that him and his girlfriend, Charmaine Steiger, mutually share.
And you said that there was an extraction that was done, is that correct?
Correct.
And in it, was there a message between that phone and a person named Anthony who owned an Airbnb in Tampa?
Correct. Yes, so this is approximately 3:55 a.m. on the 22nd, so the early morning hours of Saturday, June 22nd, 2024.
After finding the Airbnb message, Detective Ramos reached out to the Airbnb owner, who then sent him ring camera footage of the day the defendants arrived at the Airbnb and the day that they left. And Detective Ramos takes note that the only person seen on the ring camera is Alicia Andrews.
Is there any other video footage of anyone captured on this front door ring camera?
No.
Do you ever see a black Chevy Impala pull up to this townhome?
No.
Do you ever see a silver Chevy Cruze pull up to this townhome?
No.
Did you have a phone record for the co-defendant Davian Murphy?
Yes.
Does it show his phone arriving at this Airbnb on Gazebo Pond Lane in Tampa, Florida on June 22nd of 2024?
It does.
What time does he arrive?
5 minutes after the first three defendants arrive.
And do you ever see Davian Murphy enter into this front door?
No.
What about Rashad Murphy?
No.
What about Sean Gathright?
No.
And then footage of when the defendants left, which was around 3 p.m. on June 23rd.
And what time is it now on June 23rd of 2024?
2:58 p.m. Isaiah Chance walks up to, at this point in the investigation, an unrecognized vehicle.
What do we see now?
Defendant Alicia Andrews walking out.
What's she carrying?
Bags?
Day before, did you see anyone load bags into this Airbnb?
No.
Who do we see there?
Davian Murphy?
Ever see him enter the Airbnb on June 22nd of 2024?
No.
Do you know where he got the stuff that he was carrying to that vehicle that's placed in the front of the camera?
No.
Is the direction of where he's coming from lead to eventually the back door of this Airbnb?
Right.
What are we seeing here?
This is co-defendant Sean Gathright coming back to the door and apparently talking to someone, giving him the code to the door.
Okay, and is that vehicle no longer there?
Yeah, yes, the vehicle SUV is gone now.
Who's the only defendant that is not shown in this Airbnb video?
Defendant Rashad Murphy.
What's his nickname again?
Ghost 187.
Touche.
Ramos's next step was to try and identify the van that was parked out of the Airbnb. But before doing that, he talks about some of the other evidence that he found on Alicia's iCloud and Rashad's iPhone.
So this is a screenshot of the camera pointing at the front of Truth 18, the two-story building with the lit up top portion there being the club. Yeah, I was able to align the video footage and saw where that gentleman was walking through the parking lot to approximate to get the time of when this photo was captured.
Is that another screenshot of a story that was captured on that shared phone of Rashad Murphy and Charmaine Steiger.
Correct. Young and Ace is one of the prominent rappers of the rival gangs that rival the victim's gang. It shows a photograph of two rifles on the floor there.
And were there 2 AR rifles that were used in this particular case?
Correct. The person depicted in this photo is wearing similar clothing to that scene of one of the shooters at our scene.
Detective Ramos's testimony ended there for the day, with the direction for him to return on day 6. But the attorney stayed after to continue making their arguments about Alicia's police interview. Since the defense is arguing that the video should be played under the rule of completeness, which is the idea that if one side introduces part of a piece of evidence, the other side can require the rest of that evidence also be included. The judge says she's inclined to just instruct the jury that they should not take what the detective says in the video as fact, but to consider it when looking at how Alicia responds and reacts. The defense says they're okay with this solution, but the prosecutors continue to argue.
So, if I'm hearing defense correctly, you want the information left in, the statements from Detective Ramos dealing with the potential penalty the defendant is facing to show what?
If you cut out parts of it, you're going to misinterpret what she's saying, why she's saying it, and how she's saying it. There's points in time where the detectives are yelling and screaming, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're threatening her, sometimes they're telling her things about other people's cases and whatnot to get her to do and say certain things.
Judge, there is a series of statements by the law enforcement officer that specifically references the evidence in the case and a jury. There are points that I want to take out where they're basically saying you're going to be convicted, you're going to be found guilty. Judge, I don't know why they would want that in there.
Me either, but they do, so.
Judge, and there are certain statements along those same lines where they're specifically talking about a jury and what the jury will find and what the jury will think, which I think is completely inappropriate statements to make to the jury. The jury's going to make what they want of the evidence on their own. They shouldn't be told by a detective what to think or what to make of the evidence.
Ultimately, the judge tells them to go look up some case law and come back on day 6 with further arguments, and then she will make her decision. So I'll be back for day 6.